What's up guys, it's Coach Justin from Ultimate Baseball Training. Welcome back to another video. And in this video, we're gonna be talking about 5 common mistakes that hitters make. You wanna be sure that you avoid all 5 of these mistakes so that you can reach your full potential at the plate. So without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, so the first mistake that I see hitters make all the time is stepping in the batter's box before they're ready to hit. And you definitely want to avoid this because it's one of the worst feelings ever. I'm sure it's happened to you in the past. And it's one of those things where you step in the box, you think you're ready to go, and all of a sudden the ball's in the catcher's glove for strike one. And you know, it's great if maybe you get lucky one time and you step in the batter's box and it's a first pitch fastball, but it's down in the dirt. It's an easy take, and so then you kind of lucked out there and it's ball one. But most of the time, baseball has this funny way of kind of exploiting your weaknesses, and a lot of the times if you step in and you're not ready to hit, what you're going to end up getting is a fastball right over the middle of the plate, a crushable pitch, and you missed it. And it's the worst feeling ever. It feels like you're beat before you even get started, right? So obviously we want to avoid that. So how do you do it? How do you step in the batter's box ready to go? Well, I think it starts with, you know, doing your proper preparation, you know, in the dugout when you're in the hole and then in the on deck circle, and you have to walk up to the plate with an idea of what you're trying to accomplish. You have to walk up to the plate with a plan. Now, plans change with the situation, with the count, all that good stuff, but you got to understand the situation. You got to understand if there's anybody on base, and you got to have a plan of what you're trying to accomplish at the plate. But once you have that plan, then it's time to clear your head, because we can't be having a million different thoughts going through our heads. So you have to clear your head, and then the last part is commit to swinging. So when you step in the batter's box, or before you step in the box, whatever your routine looks like, a lot of players like to, you know, take a deep breath like this, but when you do that, you have to commit to swinging until it's a ball, okay? Because hitting is tough already, and you just don't have the kind of time to step in the batter's box and be thinking about, well, if it's a good pitch, then I'll make the decision of whether or not to swing. It can't be a yes, no, maybe. You have to step in the box with conviction that yes, I am swinging until my eyes tell me not to, okay? So it's much easier to have this I'm 100% committed to swinging approach and then put the brakes on than it is to try to make a decision up there. So you have to commit to swinging. Have a plan, then clear your head, because we can't be having a million thoughts, right? And then you got to step in the box and you have to commit to swinging. And I'll tell you, if you ever step in the batter's box and you find yourself up there thinking, man, I'm thinking a million thoughts, I can't clear my head, or you just feel like you're not focused on what you should be in the batter's box, you've been there before, right? Something just feels off. Then just call time, be sure that time is granted, but call time and step out of the batter's box and just go back through your routine really quickly, recenter, refocus, recommit, and then step in the batter's box. But only step in when you're ready to hit, because that first pitch could be the best pitch you see all at bat. All right, the second common mistake I see a lot of hitters make is being too aggressive and getting themselves out. So I want to preface this by first saying that being aggressive as a hitter is a good thing. It's something that I preach all the time. It's something that I believe in. You have to be aggressive, because the reality of the matter is this. You know, you are up here to hit. You're up here to hit the ball hard and get base hits. You're up there to, you know, set the table for your teammates and drive runners in when there's ducks on the pond, right? So you are up here to hit. You're not up here to see pitches. You're not up here to walk. But that being said, hitters get into trouble when they start expanding the zone and swinging at borderline pitches, or swinging at pitches that are balls, right? If it's 2 or 3 balls outside and it's not a strike and you're swinging at it, then you're getting yourself out. So there's a fine line between being aggressive and being overly aggressive and expanding the zone unnecessarily. So I like to think of it as be aggressive, but be aggressive on strikes, okay? So it all starts out, I think, in batting practice. You need to have plate discipline and you need to have strike zone awareness. So when you step in, this is a skill that you have to constantly be working on. You have to have discipline with this, but when you step in the batter's box during BP, I think it's great to visualize the strike zone, kind of like you're watching an MLB game and they've got the strike zone right there, the 3D little drawing right there on the screen. Visualize that, you know, out a few feet in front of you, and visualize what that pitch would have to look like out of the pitcher's hand for it to be a strike and for it to be a pitch that you swing at. So step in the box, be committed to swinging, practice a good aggressive yes, yes, no approach, and then attack good pitches. So if it's a pitch that's over the wide of the plate, if it's in that strike zone, if it's a pitch that you should crush, then attack those pitches. But if it's outside or up or down or inside, if it's a ball, have good plate discipline, let those bad pitches go by, because once you start chasing in batting practice, it's going to continue over into the game, and the more that you chase, the more higher likelihood that you're just going to get yourself out. So it's important to be aggressive, but you got to make the pitcher work. You got to make him throw strikes, and be aggressive, but be aggressive on strikes. A third common mistake is not being ready for off-speed pitches with runners in scoring position. Now, the beautiful thing about baseball is there are no absolutes. And so when it comes to hitting, it's not like every single time you find yourself in a 2-0 count or an 0-2 count, you're gonna get a particular pitch. Every pitcher out there is different. They all have different tendencies, and there are no absolutes. That's what makes it so much fun. That's what makes it so challenging, right? Now, that being said, there are certain counts where you are more likely to get a fastball. Let's say a 2-0 count or a 3-1 count. Those are generally fastball counts. So you can rely on, I'm gonna get more fastballs in those particular accounts. Just like 0-2 or 1-2, you might get more off-speed pitches, but there are no absolutes, right? You could get a 2-0 changeup. You could get a 3-1 changeup or a 3-1 curveball. You could get a 3-0 curveball. There are no absolutes in the game of baseball. But that being said, I just want to encourage you, with runners in scoring position, you cannot be fooled when you get an off-speed pitch, and here's why, okay? Pitchers, obviously, they don't want to give up base hits, right? But they definitely don't want to give up runs. And when there's runners in scoring position, there are runs that are on the line, right? And so they're trying to limit the damage that you do. They want to punch you out, or they want you to get you to hit a weak rollover ground ball. They are looking to get you out, okay? And most pitchers realize that the fastball is the easiest pitch to hit. And why is that? Because it's flat and it's straight, and it's also what we base our timing off of. When you're in the hole, when you're in the on-deck circle and you're getting your timing down, you're not sitting there timing his changeup. You're not timing his curveball. You're timing his fastball. That's what we base everything on. We time the fastball and we adjust to off-speed pitches. So long story short, a lot of the times with runners in scoring position, they're not just going to give you a crushable fastball right over the middle of the plate that you've timed up perfectly. They would almost rather give you an off-speed pitch, and if it's well located and you still crush it and you drive in those runs, well then, hey, they can tip their cap and say, good job, great swing, you beat me there, and they can be okay with it. But it's a tough pill to swallow when they leave a crushable fastball right over the middle of the plate. So again, it's not to say every single time with runners in scoring position you're going to get an off-speed pitch, but what I'm saying is you just cannot be fooled, and you can't be thinking, wow, I cannot believe that he threw me an off-speed pitch. I totally wasn't ready for that with runners in scoring position. I'm telling you now, be ready for it. Just some food for thought. A fourth common mistake I see hitters make is trying to do too much. You need to stay within yourself and you need to play your game. But I think there's a fine line between taking a good, controlled, aggressive swing, swinging at good pitches and swinging hard, but still being under control and just swinging out of your shoes, right? We see it all the time. It could be because mom and dad are in the stands. It could be your girlfriend's watching. It could be a pressure situation that you want to perform well in. It could be, this is a great pitcher on the mound and I see this as a great challenge. Whatever is the catalyst, but a lot of the times hitters tend to get out of themselves. They try to do too much. They try to, even though it's not possible, they try to, hit a 6-run home run. Or they just end up swinging out of their shoes, trying to do too much. And when you overswing, guess what happens? When you muscle up, you're trying to do way too much, your head is going to pull off the ball, and obviously we can't hit what we can't see. So if you're not watching the ball, you're really going to struggle with putting together any consistency at the plate, okay? So I also encourage you to know yourself and play to your strengths, play your game. So don't try to do too much and play your game. A scrawny little leadoff hitter and a big 6'5", power hitter who bats cleanup, they're going to have a little bit of different approaches, right? The leadoff hitter, he might be able to, punch it up the middle, and he does a really good job of getting on base. He might have wheels, and so maybe sometimes he can lay down a drag bunt when the third baseman's not necessarily paying attention, and he can leg it out and get on base that way. Maybe that cleanup hitter is going to be a different type of hitter. He's going to have different strengths and different weaknesses, but that scrawny leadoff guy is going to get in trouble if he sees the bigger guy mashing in BP, or maybe the bigger guy hits a home run his first at bat, and then all of a sudden if that little leadoff hitter tries to mimic his game after, you know, the power hitter, he might struggle because he's getting out of himself, and, you know, vice versa as well. So I encourage you, know yourself and play your game. Don't try to do too much. Just, you know, take care of business in the batter's box, one pitch at a time, stay within yourself, and the rest is going to take care of itself, I promise. And the fifth and final mistake, very common mistake that I want to cover with you in today's video, is pressing with hard throwing pitchers. This goes right along with the prior point we just talked about. Hitters have a tendency to get out of themselves and not stay within themselves, especially when there's a hard throwing guy on the mound. You know, it's fine if the guy has average fastball velocity. It's fine if a pitcher throws a little bit slower than average. In fact, a lot of hitters in that particular instance will get more confident. But for some reason, when there's a guy that has above average fastball velocity, all of a sudden hitters tend to get out of themselves and they start pressing. So the key is, do not press. You have to just relax and take it just as it's another at bat, because it is. The only thing that changes is you start everything a little bit sooner. Too many times I see hitters and, you know, it's a hard throwing pitcher on the mound, and so what do? They muscle up, they tense up with their body. It starts with a tight grip, and then maybe their shoulders get tense, their jaw even gets tense, and we know that, you know, tight muscles like that, they're going to be slower than if we're nice and loose and relaxed. Loose and relaxed muscles, those are fast muscles, those are quick muscles. That's what's going to help us maximize our bat speed and our power anyway. So physically you have to stay relaxed, and, you know, too many times hitters just, they not only tense up, but they just try to do way too much. So they think that their load has to be quicker and it has to be bigger, right? They get just out of themselves, and the only thing that changes, nothing changes mechanically. The only thing is, okay, this guy throws a little bit harder. All I need to do is I need to get everything going a little bit sooner. So I need to get this front foot up in the air just a little bit sooner, right? And then get it down on time, and I'll be right on time. So a guy that throws harder, start everything a little bit sooner. A guy that throws a little bit slower, you can afford to start everything a little bit later. But that's the name of the game. It's not pressing, it's just starting everything a little bit sooner. And the last thing I'll leave you with is this. You should be excited when you see a guy that throws hard on the mound, because guess what? That pitcher, he knows that he throws hard. He knows he has above average velocity. And so what he's going to have a tendency to do is he's going to have a tendency to over rely on his fastball. So you can expect to see a lot of fastballs. He might just have, you know, 2 or 3 pitches. It might be just a fastball and a curveball, or fastball, curveball, changeup. But he's going to over rely on his fastball 9 times out of 10 because he thinks that that's the way that he's going to get noticed. And, you know, in his brain, he's just thinking, hey, I know I throw harder than everybody else. I want to stand out with my fastball. That's going to lead to him having a tendency to throw it more often. So just something to keep in the back of your mind. Look for it as an opportunity. Be excited, because you're going to get a crushable fastball over the middle of the plate and you can do damage. So that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please smash that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Do me a favor and hit that right now. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. That way you never miss any of our upcoming videos. And last thing, hitters, be sure to go download the free contact point checklist that I put together for you. It's going to help you make sure that your swing looks picture perfect at the point of contact, so that you can really maximize your bat speed and your power and your consistency at the plate. And it's 100% free, so click on the link down below in the description or in the comment section. Go download that right now. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.